great.
Hey everyone, this is Elisa and welcome to another wonderful episode of the Startup Celebrity Show. And so today I have the wonderful and beautiful Konstandina, and she's a very beautiful accent. So let's find out
Thank you.
together where she is from. And so who is she? She says she is in a constant flow and creation of her life. She's a psychologist, counselor, and a dating coach. Her deepest desire is to assist others in knowing themselves deeply, living okay, that wasn't a word, fulfilling meaningful lives and creating their lives as they want them to be. Alrighty, so welcome, Konstandina. You have such a pretty name. Where are you from? And we are in the same color scheme, by the way, so coincidence.
I've been living in London for the last 10 years.
Sorry, where are you from again? Where did you say you're from?
Originally from Athens, Greece,
Wow.
and now I've been living the last 10 years in London, in the UK.
Interesting. So what are you doing in London?
So originally I moved here to study for a doctorate in counseling psychology and to explore something different. I was very interested in existential psychotherapy, and there was a really good school here, so I wanted to get deeper into my studies, but also I wanted to meet lots of people from different cultures and have different experiences.
Awesome. So how long have you been in London now?
It's about 10 years.
Wow. So tell me more about your story. How did you decided to become a dating coach?
Yes,
so psychologist and dating coach.
yeah, so the dating coach, it sort of progressed because I was seeing mostly people for relationship difficulties and couples and people who were dating. And it sort of evolved that I was working a lot with relationships. So with most of my clients, I work on relationships, and I thought, oh, okay, yes, so dating coaching, it's fun, it's interesting, and I think that it's very deep as well. So I'm working with people on dating in a way that they find themselves through this process, and they can be very honest and authentic while meeting other people.
So you're not like a dating coach. I mean, you said you're a dating coach, but do you teach people how to flirt and like that kind of stuff, or you just said you are going like finding themselves?
Yes, so it's a lot of deep work as well. It's a bit of how to approach things as well, and there can be psychoeducation or things about flirting, but it's a lot more about being able to be vulnerable, being able to be open, being able to see what they really want from someone else, where they can really find them, and like stop falling into traps from previous patterns, previous stories.
So do you work with men or women or both?
Both, actually, yes. Lately it has been more women, but there has been phases where I've worked a lot with men as well.
So what's the difference between men and women?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So it comes up a lot that men have a difficulty to come in touch with their emotions, and with women it comes up a lot that it's difficult to really express who they really are. And they sometimes try to be who the man wants them to be, how the man would like them to look like, what the man would like them to say. But for men, it's more about avoiding the connection. Avoiding to express their emotions, to be vulnerable. It can be for both of these things, but there is a little bit more intensity on that.
It's like really interesting. I mean, we think that the men are so different, but actually we are more alike than we're different.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so it's the same for both. Yeah, it's the same for both. It's just sometimes some exaggerations more on the different genders, but yes, at the end we all want to be loved, we all want to be ourselves and be loved for that.
So,
Mm.
so since you work with both men and women, I mean, have you tried matchmaking your clients?
Ah, no, that's an interesting thought. Yes.
Hmm.
Mm.
Maybe you should try since they all graduate out of you. They sure to be good people, right?
That's a good idea. Sometimes it comes up for me because there is, for example, I see a client that is a man and he says, "Oh, all women are cheating, men are more faithful." And then there is a woman that comes afterwards and said, "All men are cheating. It's only only women are
Right.
faithful." So sometimes yeah, it's like that. Something
So are you saying that
the opposite.
so the clients who come to you for the men, most of them they cannot express themselves?
Um, yes, there is that theme of people like really hiding under some social masks,
Right.
yeah.
So I mean, most of the audience here are women. So since you have like the first-hand experience with men, because I used to be a love coach, right? But I only coach women. So I'm still like, so we only have a perception of how men think like what they want,
Uh,
that kind of thing, right? So now you have the first-hand experience. Then can you share with us, really, what does a man want from a woman? Why is it like why do they play games all the time? Like, the traditional games, like whoever calls first losers and that kind of thing. But it's so like 1944, right? So is this what the man wants? I mean, is this what are they enjoying the kill? Are they enjoying the hunt? Like, what is it? What are they thinking?
mm. So I think the from the men that I have seen, I think they are also tired of these
Mm,
games. I think both men and women think that they will come to me and we will talk about how to be great at playing games sometimes.
like
But
mind games, right?
yeah, but they soon realize that it's about how to transcend the games, how to to manage to really be ourselves and really connect with the feelings and the deeper blockages behind this. And this is coming up for men a lot. Sometimes they get caught up in the stories, in the games. Um,
The macho man, right?
yes. And yeah, it's interesting. Like there was a man recently that was telling me some stories, and then he came this in the next session, and he said, "You know what? I was lying, and it's not really like that." And yeah, and sometimes I do lie to women or to other people because I feel really vulnerable if I tell the truth, and I feel like people wouldn't like me or they will think things
But
are
it's so
not
interesting,
matching.
like women think exactly the same like that in a similar context. So we figure like as women, the men should have everything figured out. They are all confident. But here you are saying that in fact they are not. They tell white lies. They lie. The reason why they lie is because they want to be accepted as well. And it's really interesting. And the way, like you said early on, we behave the way men want us to behave so that we can be accepted by them.
Yes. Mm.
So, and you brought up a point about transcending the game. I love that statement. Can you tell us more about that and how we can transcend the game?
Yes. So how to transcend the game? So there is something about being able to say how we're really feeling. So meeting up with someone and telling them, "Oh, I feel like the next stage in my life is finding a relationship that is reciprocal, that I can really help someone, but then the other person supports me as well." Um, and I have a vision about this. We are helping each other grow. We are we are both really expressing what we want from life, and then asking, are we in the same page? What do you want from your life? How do you see yourself? What are your interests? Because sometimes we get so afraid of it.
But would that be too deep of a question for a first date?
um, well, yes, things can evolve, or we can also see where we are in the moment. So sometimes maybe only through fun things can really transpire, because if we connect on that child place where we are really open and having fun and being very playful, there is something about that that is really powerful as well. That we can really see who we are, who the other person is in that
Right.
place
You
too.
said something really interesting, like have fun. I think most couples, when like the first date and beyond, they're like so serious, especially the first date. And then a lot of people would say, how come I don't get second dates? So I think this goes back to being fun, right? I mean, if you are naturally fun, people will want more of you. I mean, if you're gonna be like sitting down there and you're just waiting and you're not being fun at all, nobody wants to be with you again, right?
Yes, yes, because we really need to express this child that we have inside, and it's always there. And sometimes we suppress it so much. So yes, that spontaneity, that going with the flow, playing with words, playing with whatever we have around us. Yeah.
So for the sake of the women, so a lot of people are so worried about the first date. So how can they not perform, but how can they be comfortable on the first date so that they can be themselves and not freak out and actually have a second date with the guy? Do you have any advice for these people?
A good like exercise to do is before going to the date, like almost like meditating a little bit, doing some mindfulness, and then imagining situations where they have felt very comfortable. So situations with best friends, situations that have been lots of fun in the past, and getting into that vibration, getting into that feeling, and bringing that feeling, that energy in the first date, remembering how they are, who they are in that moment, when they are having the most fun, when they are being mostly themselves, that energy, take it with them. Another one is also imagining someone from a film or from a story they've read that is having that sort of energy and embodying that.
Right. So what you're saying is have a pre-date with yourself first and set yourself up
Yes.
in the mood, right? So it's a
Mm.
little bit like the law of attraction. You create the mood first so that you will have that feeling regardless of what happens. I mean, whether you like him or not, that's besides the point. But you create your own mood first.
Yes, yes, being in touch with yeah, with ourselves, and
I
then
think this
bringing
is
that.
very useful
Yeah.
if, let's say, the girl turns up and she doesn't really like the man, but it'll be so rude if you just show a face, oh, thank you, and I'm gone, right? So doing this pre-exercise is useful um, if that thing happens, like it, like like he's not your type, but you can still enjoy and have fun. Who knows? I mean, something else may happen.
Yes, maybe there is someone else a little bit over there. Yes, and when the date leaves, you can have a discussion. But it's also a lot about if that person is the man that we want. If he is the person that this woman is matching with and feels very attracted, so that's even more to bring
Right.
that energy even more and shine and really show him her light, her beauty.
Right. That's so true. That's so true. I mean, like, if you just be yourself and psych yourself up, like, regardless, no matter what happens, you are just going to be happy, then everything will just sort of like just flow in place, right?
Yes,
Yeah. So
yes, yes.
if there are any men who are watching this, so what do you think? What's your advice for them to prepare? Is it the same? Is it the same process?
Yes, and what is also very important for both men and women, but it has come up a lot for men lately. It's to be able to say no as well, and be able to take a step back and see, how do I really feel about this woman? How do I really feel about this man? Do I want to pursue this, or there is not enough in it for me? So taking that step, because sometimes I have heard a lot of men getting caught up in saying yes too quickly and having lots more dates, and then they feel that it's difficult to escape. They fall into that trap of trapping themselves and feeling trapped.
That's
So it's
interesting.
important to take some time.
Right. So what do they say yes to? Like,
Um, yeah, so sometimes they also feel like they need to get into a relationship, or they need to have sex very quickly, and then they feel that they get trapped
is this what
into
the men
this.
think that they need to have sex really quickly?
Yeah, sometimes it's like, yeah, we need to have sex, or we need to be in a relationship. That comes up for women as well, but I have seen it in men quite a lot lately. Mm.
So I see this a lot and I hear this a lot. Like, I'm not sure about the men, but
Mhm.
the women decide so quickly on the first date that if they want to spend the rest of their life with this man or not, and they quickly make that decision. So, do you
Mhm.
have anything to say about that? I mean, should they do that or shouldn't they? Should they not do this?
Um, I think that it's great to be able to listen to the emotional guidance system, to how we really feel, and to be able to recognize what is fear and what is true desire. So, if there is like a true desire, we really falling in love with someone, there is a very strong connection, and we can listen to it, and we can let it grow, let it flow, and see where it leads us. But if it's out of fear that, oh, am I going to end up alone? Do I have to go into another 10 dates to find the one? So then we better not listen to that one. Mm.
So, I'm interested, like, do you apply these principles in your own life as well? Is it harder to apply them in your own life, or is it much easier to like see other people's situation?
Yes, it's easier to see other people's situations. Yes, so it's almost like I get into a place that is much more transcending, much more intuitive, much more like having that distance, being able to get into the other person's life, but also looking at them, observing. So yeah, there is an advantage when talking with other people, but. Yeah, with my life, I now have a relationship for the last 5 years. So I'm not dating at the moment, but it comes up in other ways. These things are applicable in all different areas. So for me, in my career, it comes up more at the moment. So there can be things that I need to decide. Um, how to show myself, how to what projects to choose, yes, things like that. So then I can also get confused, and I need to take a step back and try to really listen to my feelings. And sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it comes more easily.
Yeah, I
Mm.
think women of this era, it's a little bit more complicated because it's not like the past where our grandma period era, grandma time, period, where they just stay home and look after children, and their self satisfaction is to see their kids successful. Now women like
Mm.
us, we want the career and we want the man and we want the love, we want like everything, right?
Yes, yes, we want everything.
We want
Mm.
everything, and sometimes to the point, I don't know, I mean, when I'm at work I can be so workaholic, and like my family, I mean, my husband, my kids, they are in good hands. So I just dive into my work and I can be so obsessed with it. You know how it is, right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
and then sometimes they're like, Mom, are you done? And my husband's like, are you done? Like, are you like done? So, what's your advice also for women like us who want it all?
Mm,
We want the
yes.
marriage plus we want the career.
I think one thing I would say is balance is impossible. Uh,
Right, balance. And you know what? Everybody's talking about this work-life balance. I really don't think there is this thing as a. I don't think there's work-life balance. What is work-life balance?
yes, yes, exactly. It's very restricting to try to be balanced. It's we'll have to suppress one thing to balance it with another. It feels like it's a bit too difficult, too suffocating. So I would say let's listen to our hearts. Let's listen to what we desire, what feels like a priority at different times. So there will be a phase that our work will be a priority, a phase where our family will be a priority, a phase where fun will be a priority, and the other things are not going to disappear or get completely out of balance. Like trust that things are going to flow as well.
Mhm. So what you're saying is basically live in the moment, right? I mean, if you are now at task with work, then just work. If your time is to spend
Yes,
time with your family, then put that as a priority and not focus on anything else. And whatever it is, so just live in the moment, and that's as balanced as one can get, right?
yes, yes, exactly. Yes. So it's living in the moment, prioritize, and know what we desire, what is calling us mostly at its
Mhm,
time.
mhm, mhm. That's so true. So, what's your advice for? Let's just start with the women first, right now. So, who are the women that you generally attract? Are they like you, successful women who want to date, or what kind of women do you attract?
Yes, so it's mostly like me. Yeah, I see a lot
So,
of
what kind of
me in my
what advice do
clients.
you have for them?
So I see, um, yeah, I see a lot of women who have been very successful or have placed a lot of attention in their work, and they can do business, but they cannot do relationships. Somehow, like there is something. How do I apply all the things I've learned in this area of my life in this other area? Um, or sometimes there are also some women that are trying to work on both of these, so they are really unsure, and it's like in all areas they need some assistance to find themselves and manifest what they really want. Yeah.
So it goes back to what you said earlier on about there's no such thing as work life balance, right? I mean, you can't work and think of relationship. So when you're working, you work. When you're not working, then you work on your relationship and not try to have everything all mingled up. Then it's going to be messed up, right? And the main thing, and you
Yes.
said, is know what you desire, right? I mean,
Yes.
there are some women I know who want a career, but they are wanting a relationship for the sake of having a relationship because they're getting old. So that's not the truest desire, like what you said. So of course it's not going to
Yes.
manifest, right? Or it's just going to manifest in some random man.
Yes, that is so true. Yes, like for example, recently I was seeing a woman and she was telling me, "Oh, I'm getting older. I need to have children." But then when we explored her desire for having children, she didn't really want to have children. She just didn't want to admit it to herself because she was seeing all her friends having children, getting married, and she thought this is what I should be doing, but she didn't really want to do it. She just felt that pressure of fitting in.
Right. It's so interesting. Whether it's love coaching, business coaching, health coaching, or even therapy or healing, I think it all goes back to what you want and stop listening to society. Like what you said about this woman, and I've heard this from a lot of women when I was doing love coaching as well. They actually don't want to get married. They're happy the way they are. But it's because 35, I'm 35, 36, 37, or I'm even 40. There's something wrong with me, right? So like what
Yes,
you said, if you go deeper. Maybe you don't want to have a relationship, and that's okay.
Yes, and that also what you said, that's another big thing. There is something wrong with me. That's such a hurtful statement for us to feel like, yeah, it's so painful to say there's something wrong with me.
Right. So there's nothing wrong with you if you're listening out there, and if you're like 45 and you're still single and you don't desire to, get married or have kids. That's normal. That's okay. Not everyone wants to be a mother. It's okay, right? Not everybody wants to be married, and that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with you. So I just want to say that. So how about for the men? What advice do you have for the men, just in case they're watching?
Yes, so there would be something along these lines, like it's okay to be you. It's okay to not be the man that society wants you to be. It's okay to not try to see how a man should be, to follow this. It's okay not to like the same type of women that your friends like. It's okay to um, it's okay to not get married. It's okay to get married. Yeah, just
It's
find
okay to
who you want to
cry.
be and express that to people, because that's where all the hurt is coming from
Right.
being dishonest, not authentic, disconnected.
Right.
Mhm.
And it's okay to cry. I don't know why, but men have been told that you can't
Yeah.
cry. If you cry, you're not a man. It's okay. At the end of the day, we're all human beings, and I don't know. I mean, you're right. Like, if men were to just acknowledge their relationships more, and women would just not express themselves so much, listen more, then I think that would be a balanced relationship. I think
Yes.
do you think there is
Yes.
anything there is such a thing as a balanced relationship?
Um, I think there is something about reciprocity and truthfulness, and I think that that's the closest to
Right,
balance.
right,
If they're both very truthful and spontaneous, and they reciprocate
right.
the energy.
So it's like they playing with the energy. So on one day, if this person is a bit yang, then this person will be yin, right? Like, you just play with the energy. The man doesn't have to be man all the time. The woman doesn't have to be a woman all the time. So I think it goes back to what you say about being who you are. When you're confident in who you are, then the man can cry, the woman can cry as well, and it's fine, right?
Yes, yeah, yeah. That's It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to cry. It's okay to not have it all figured out.
Well, then,
Yeah.
if you know who you are, then there's no need for dating tricks. There's no need to flirt. There isn't really a need, right? Because you just are so confident who you are.
Yes, and the flirt is coming more spontaneously. Yes, it's becoming that playfulness instead of a game. I think
Right,
this is the difference. It's about playfulness and self-expression instead of games and masks and pretense.
right. That's so true. I mean, when we think of flirting, it's like being somebody that you're not. You're just, you know, trying to get attention. But I think what you're saying is, when you know who you are, then it's not flirt. It's just showing and bringing out the feminine energy and the feminine side of you.
Yes, yes, because we have that. We want to show ourselves, we want to be liked, we want to
Yeah, we just want
woo.
to be a woman, and we just want to like just do this and be girly, right? I mean, that's just so in us. So when we don't pretend to flirt, it would be like so awkward, right? You just show your true self, and
Yes,
that's not
yeah.
flirting. I think that's just being feminine.
Yes, yeah. So if it comes up in this way for me, or it comes up in another way for someone else, or there are lots of ways to express this playfulness, this feminine energy.
Right, and then from that way, you are confident in yourself. You don't have to put on the mask, like you said, and you actually attract and call in the love that you desire, and you can actually see it clearly, because you don't have to pretend to be somebody you're not. The guy doesn't have to say yes all the time or pretend to be macho and all. Then we're all free to be who we are. right? At the end of the day, that's it.
Yes, this was a great point actually, that we can see more clearly. I think this is a great point, to be able to see more clearly also the other when we are being more honest, because sometimes we get caught up in idealizing, in seeing something that isn't there in the other person, because we are so caught up in pretending, we are not able to really see what is going on the other side.
Right, right, right. At the end of the day, it's like you're making it about you. But it's funny, right? But actually, a relationship is two people. But when people date, they make it about themselves, right? Like how I should
Yes.
be and this and that. Just let loose. It's okay, right? I mean, if there's a broccoli stuck in your teeth, there's a broccoli stuck in your teeth. If the guy is going to like judge you for that, then I don't think you want to spend the rest of your life with him because you have a broccoli in your teeth, right?
Yes.
Like, I mean, I ask my husband all the time, do I have anything in my teeth before I, take a photo? I mean, he's not going to judge me. He wants me to look good. So he's going to make sure that I look good. Like, no, 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 there isn't anything. So if you can't be funny or silly and, then ask yourself, is this the kind of relationship that you want? It's not honest. This is considered not honest, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So really noticing if we can feel ourselves, if we can feel that the other person is a good match with us, is making us feel good about ourselves. Yeah, that's another one, to feel like we are the person we want to be with someone, that we feel
Awesome.
good about who we are.
So awesome. Thank you for the wonderful tips. And so, where
Thank
can we
you.
find you?
So my new website is www.constantflow with K and .com.
Yeah, because you're Konstandina, you're the K. I like
Yes,
it,
yes. So
constant
I
flow.
changed that. I made it
Yeah,
constant flow with K.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. I love it. And I don't know what you feel, but the Kardashian sisters have made the K so famous, right? So yeah, the constant flow with the K is awesome. Um, does it mean anything?
Yes, so it's about life and the constant flow of the water element, and because I was a lot about creating our life as we want it to be. Um, but it's like this balance between creating our life as we want it to be, but also flowing with life, and that is where the magic happens, in a way, where we are creative, but also letting go and going with what comes up.
Go with the
Mm.
flow, right?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. So her website is constantflow with a K.com. And thank you, Konstantina, for your time. It's been so wonderful. And thank you so much for being a wonderful member in the spiritual community as well. So if you like to
Thank you.
contact her, go check her out, Constant Flow with a K, constantflow.com, or you can start a conversation with her in the Spiritual Entrepreneurs Group, where we're hosting more than 17,000 members there. We're going on to 18,000 very soon. And you can start a conversation with her, and I'm sure she's happy to engage with you over there as well. So thank you for joining us. And
Thank you. I really enjoyed the interview. I really loved talking to you. That
thank
was, yeah,
you.
beautiful. Really nice meeting you in this context as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And so, if you have enjoyed it as much as we do, leave us a comment below and let us know what you think about dating, flirting, and whatever that we have talked about. And we're happy to answer those questions for you. So, alrighty, you take care and see you soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.